Okay, so I wanted to do a video on this because I thought that it was something that I wouldn't be able to get my mind off of unless I did, right? So, the greatest game I've ever played is Among Us. And the reason why it's the greatest game I've ever played is because it pretty much puts a spotlight on people, well, on gullible people. I almost said something else. It puts a spotlight on gullible people because you need little to no evidence to convince people to think the same way you think, right? And it's not even like that they're making a conscious decision to do it. It's like they're just, oh, somebody said something. All right, so let's just go with it, whatever. And if that's not true, then we'll just vote him out, right? Like you need little to no evidence in a game where you have to try to figure out. It's a who done it. You know what it reminds me of that makes it so great for me is the movie The Thing. If anybody's ever seen The Thing, it's about a group of people on some Arctic science station or something, and I think an alien. I'm assuming it's an alien. I watched it a long time ago. I don't remember much, but I remember the core details, which was there was an alien on a ship who was inhabiting people, and it was forcing that person to kill other people, right? So they didn't know who was doing all the killing. They didn't know who could have possibly been controlled, and you had to try to figure it out, right? So Among Us reminds me of that. I'm pretty sure whoever created the game had that in mind when they made the game because it's exactly just like the premise to that movie. You need little to no evidence in a game that is about building up enough evidence to figure out who did it, right? So many times, and most of the time people guess right, but so many times I've seen people say, listen, I seen this person do this, do that, and do that. And everybody votes for that person. And most of the time, like maybe 65% of the time, that person is the it person, the imposter. Whoever you're saying is the imposter. All right. But for those 35%, which is it happens a lot more frequently than 35%, but I'm just ballparking and I'm being generous with the numbers. About 35% of the time, when you say it's that person because of this, and that, most of that 35%, they're lying. I mean, I would give maybe like 10%. He could just, his perspective is playing tricks on him. Because a lot of times when you come around the corner and you see somebody leave from off a top of a vent, you think that you saw them come out the vent. But you didn't see them come out the vent. You just saw them come away from the vent, right? So you're just going to assume they were venting, right? Like I had this game I played where I was following somebody. I think they were the color yellow. I was following them, and he turned a corner. When I tried to hurry up and get around that corner to find out where, like, to get him back in my sights, because I assumed he was the imposter, he disappeared. So I was like, "Bro, do vent it." Like I don't see him in any room near, and he wasn't in the hallway when I turned that corner. And we voted him out, and he wasn't the he wasn't the imposter, right? And a lot of times, in order for me to get some real enjoyment out of it, I will troll. So I will say, I'm the imposter, or I will try to get somebody that I'm playing with in trouble. Like I'll try to convince everybody, hey, listen, that person's the imposter. I saw them do X, Y, Z. And most of the time, people will vote. Whatever you say, people will vote. Like it feels that way. People will vote. Okay, like when I watch these YouTube videos, do videos on it, and they try to be like, well, 2000 IQ play and all this other stuff. Most of the people that play this game are idiots. Most of them are idiots. They're too stupid to think for themselves. They just go with the flow, and that's just it, right? And for most people, they would assume, hey, what's the big deal? It's just a game, right? But this is how I think society is, and this is why I have no interest in getting involved in politics. This is why I have no interest in getting involved in anything that has to do with societal issues, because I just think I'm going along for the ride. I don't even have to make a fucking decision, and my life is already being guided in a certain direction, right? And I was sitting here today thinking about democracy and how people want democracy because it gives them the ability to make choices for themselves. And I started questioning that. Like, most people are fucking stupid. Most people are stupid who can't think for themselves. So this is why they need politicians to think for them. I mean, is it really a democracy when the government pretty much makes all the rules? Is it really a democracy though? I mean, you could say a dictatorship is a lot worse. You have one person pretty much making the rules for everybody. But at least with a democracy, you have a group of people making decisions for everybody. But is it though? Is it though? Is it not the same thing, just on a different scale? Like, I don't know. I just, like, I sit in my room because I'm antisocial in every sense of the word. I don't even like using my cell phone to call people. I don't like texting people. I don't. Like, I was supposed to text my friend back to let her know that my phone is back on. And I was supposed to do this a couple days ago, and I never did. Like, I never did it. And I told her I would, and I never did it. I just don't like talking to people, right? So this is why I think Among Us is the greatest game, is because it highlights the issues that most people have, man. Like, look at The Walking Dead. I think The Walking Dead hit it so far on the fucking head that it doesn't even need to take a zombie apocalypse for some shit like that to happen, really. People now are just following the herd. Like, they're following the safest herd. And this is what politics, this is the comfort politics offers citizens, is security. You know, you think that by aligning yourself with this person, you'll be in the best position to be safe. You'll be in the best position to reap the benefits, right? Like, when you look at Negan from The Walking Dead, which is arguably the greatest TV villain I've ever seen in my life. And when you align yourself with somebody like that, who is so confident in what they're saying that they can make things right for you, I mean, you're forfeiting any choice. You're forfeiting any choice, and you become. It's like what they say in the show, when people ask who are they, who are you, and everybody say, I am Negan. I am Negan. Everybody says that, and this is pretty much how society works, man. This is like with the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. We're all just aligning ourselves, right? So, you know, another thing that made me think about this, and along with the game, was my mother. You know, she asked me to do something as far as voting. I'm not going to say what, but she wanted me to vote for Biden. Vote for Biden. I told her I didn't want to vote for anybody. Like, I don't care. And I was more interested in trying to figure out, like, how much were you going to pay me? I done fucked up and said it anyway. I'm sorry. I'm just into this so much. Like, I can't even control myself. But I'm like, this is funny because people are so desperate to hate Donald Trump. And I don't hate Donald Trump. I heard stories about Donald Trump. I don't know if he's a good guy. I don't know if he's a bad guy. I don't care. I don't care. And the reason why I don't care is because nobody else seems to care. You know, like the truther community. And I know I've been talking for 8 minutes, but I just, you know, I just want to get my thoughts out there, right? So otherwise I won't be able to stop thinking about it. So the truther community, although I agree with a lot of what they say, because you can see this shit unfolding before your eyes. A lot of what they keep saying, you can see unfold in front of their eyes. But last night, I'm sitting here watching this video, and I'm like, yo, we're doing all this exposing. We're doing all of this fact-finding and putting it out there. Now I just watched a video where they said that people were transporting what do you call them? Damn it, they were human trafficking people in fucking cabinets and shit, right? Wayfair, right? And I'm watching this shit, and I'm like, what gets me is that we say how smart these people are. We say how dangerous these people are. We say how ahead of the game they are on us. What I don't get about the truther community is that they believe what they're finding is real findings. Never have I ever seen one person come out and say, well, maybe somebody put this out there for us to find and make us think that we're getting somewhere, even though we're not getting anywhere, right? And then, like, sorry, and then you have like two sides to the truther community. You have the one side that believes that you can make a difference, right? You can actually stop what's happening, right? But then you have the other side of the truther community that believes that there's nothing you can do. The only thing you can do is just pray to God, hope that your soul is saved, and then go to heaven afterwards, right? So, but then secretly, there's like a little section of the truther community that's like me, that's saying, there's nothing we can do about it. I don't even know if God actually gives a damn if there is a God. And like, I'm agnostic. I'm not saying I'm an atheist or anything like that. I don't know what to believe, to be honest. I do believe that most books, most sources of information is doctored in some way. Like, I had a friend who would, she was incredibly smart. She was incredibly smart. And although she denied being as smart as she was smart. And that's because she used to be a teacher, she, read a lot, and she was really smart, right? And one day I was talking to her, and she's telling me, calm down. You don't even know if any of it, because this was when I first started finding out about all this shit. And I was like, fuck Obama, fuck all this shit, right? I started finding out about all this shit, and I started freaking the fuck out, because I'm like, bro, like, we're all gonna die. like that's where my head was, right? And she was like, calm down, you don't know if any of this is true. You're getting all this stuff off the internet, and the internet lies to you. And I'm like, all right, so since you're going down that road, let me ask you a question, right? You say the internet is full of lies, right? Most, if not all, I'm talking like, if at least 95% of all information learned is either learned through schools, books, the internet, like, somebody has information and they're telling you that information. One of the flaws of humans are like the agenda thing, where it's like they have certain allegiances and they're trying to like recruit people to think the same way they think. So is really any information there unbiased? Like is there any unbiased, unfiltered true fact without any additives? Is there any real facts out there that's not being doctored in some way to get you to think a certain way? Because, I mean, the truther community, believe it or not, whether they believe it or not, the information I believe that they're getting, can you really trust it? Can you really trust that you're finding something? It's like this thing, and I use a lot of side stories to try to explain what I'm talking about, right? So when I was a kid, right, I was a dumbass kid, right? Because all kids are dumb, right? So I was a dumbass kid who, at Easter, I thought it would be a good idea to take all my eggs that I found out my basket in random spots and then pick them up in front of people and make people think that I'm finding a whole bunch of eggs. But really, I'm not. I'm not finding shit. I'm just refinding the ones I already found. I think that's what the truther community is. Things are being put down so they can pick them up to make them think that they're figuring something out. And I'm not saying what they're finding isn't anything. I'm just saying, what if that stuff is already being planned is already done in the works? There's nothing you can do about it now, and now they're just throwing out breadcrumbs, like how I think the civil rights thing was, like the plan against black people was already in the works. We're going to disenfranchise them. We're going to make sure that they have no education. We're going to make sure that they have no real resource to better their lives. We're going to make sure that they grow up either in jail or in the system, or, working for the state. We're going to make sure that they're either working a regular job every day. Somebody explained it perfectly. They said that everybody that's born has a financial expectation. Like for certain people, it's like store owning, stuff like that, starting businesses. For other people, it's, possibly military, any way that you could contribute to society, you have that labeled on you at birth. And what they said, black people's label was prison, because that's usually where a majority of the black people are pretty much, providing to the system is through prison. So I thought that was a good point, like, does any of this shit matter, man? Because these same truther motherfuckers that come out and say, all these people are eating babies, and I believe this shit. I believe it. Like I'm from New Jersey, so there where I live, they found 3 little kids in a ditch. 3 little kids in a ditch. So I believe that these motherfuckers do shit like this. All the kids that go missing. I mean, I can't tell you how much in the inner city that you'll see little kids. I'm talking like at the age of like 6 or 7, walk around by themselves, just doing whatever, right? Most of these people, most people are bad parents. Most people aren't bad parents. I'm not gonna say that. Most people aren't bad parents. Most people don't have a nurturing way about them. Most people just don't. They just don't. They can't even take care of themselves, so they really can't take care of kids. So a lot of times you'll see a bunch of kids running around doing whatever with no supervision. And I know I'm like way off, but not way off, but I went, other places with this. But this is part of the problem with people, is that we stop thinking. We stop thinking for ourselves. I don't read books. That does not mean I'm stupid. It doesn't mean that I don't know. But I try to stay away from other people's opinions to form my own opinion, Like I take bits and pieces of what I learn. I try to stay. I can't stress how much it's a contradiction that people say if you don't read books, you're stupid. But a lot of times the shit you're learning isn't really making you any smarter. It's really not. It's not making you any smarter, and it's not making you a better person. Like, it's not. There's nothing that benefits you in there. Only your own self-indulgence is what benefits people. Their own self-indulgence. It has nothing to do with these books. It has nothing to do with the knowledge. Like, it has nothing to do with any of that. Because if we knew better, we do better. Like, like I got that from a song, but it's very true. Like, if we knew better, we do better. And we don't, because we're still in the same spot, This is why we voted for Obama. This is why most people. I didn't vote. Usually I put we because I don't want to try to exclude myself from the pact. I want to try to make it a us problem instead of a y'all problem. But I didn't vote. I don't vote. I didn't vote for Obama. I'm not voting for Biden. I don't want to vote for Trump. I don't want to vote for anybody. I don't want to vote, period, because your vote doesn't matter. I would not be surprised if Joe Biden won the presidency. I wouldn't be surprised, even though everybody's pretty much saying that they're going to vote for Trump. Everybody that I talk to pretty much say that, they're going to vote for Trump because either they like Trump or they just don't want to vote for Biden. I wouldn't be surprised if Biden wins. So I'm going to say this, man. Like, Among Us is one of the greatest games ever made because it shines a light. There are things in life that pretty much, it holds a figurative mirror up to your face. And it's showing you who you are. But most people are ignorant. Most people lie to themselves daily. We all spend our lives lying to ourselves. We spend our life lying to ourselves, making us believe things that aren't true, ignoring the things that are true, and coming up with your own. It's like the scene in Men in Black where they'll neuralize you, erase your memory, and then they'll erase the time or however much time that they took out of your head. They'll erase that time and they'll fill it up with some other shit. That's pretty much what we do. We spend our times, having amnesia, not knowing who the fuck we are, and then lying to ourselves about who we are. And the one thing I said, I don't care if I'm miserable. I don't care if I'm depressed. I don't care what happens. I don't want to spend the rest of my life lying to myself. And once I started, working on myself and getting myself out of the rut that I'm currently in, like once I get myself out of that, I want to stop lying to myself about things and start working on things. Because, I'm one of those people, man, like I'm stuck, man. Like, life isn't as important to me. Like, I'm not suicidal or nothing, but life isn't as important to me anymore. And, death is not something I want. So I'm one of these people, like, I'm just existing. But one of the few pleasures I get out of life is watching other people pretty much have trouble with themselves and then want to blame everybody else for the reason why they're having trouble with themselves. And I love watching the fight. I don't love it like I like watching it, like it's an enjoyment. I love it because it's like it's like sarcasm. There's nothing else going on. And a lot of times we just like things because we want to be humored. Like it has nothing to do with our enjoyment with it. It's just, we just need to keep ourselves busy. And right now this shit is the only thing that's really keeping me busy. But this is life right now. It's just one big confusion. But look, I know a lot of what I'm saying is inflammatory. A lot of people won't agree with it, but this is the time, man. Like, this is the perfect time. Like, if there was ever a time in history where we started to look at the bad shit and try to fix the bad so we can start working towards the better, this would be a great time to do that, and I don't know, man. TV, schools, the internet, music, everything is just is preparing people for something. And I just can't wait for the bottom to drop out. But that's it, man. I'm done, man. I really wanted to talk about that because I really do like this game. I like it on the level that I just talked about, but I also like it because it is a fun game to play with people, But all right, y'all have a good day, man.